ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us this edition of Leak Project. I'm your host, Rex Bear, and tonight's guest was recently featured as a top intuitive in the United Kingdom, Maggie Rose. She has clairsentience as well as being clairvoyant, meaning deep knowing, feelings, and visions. She is a natural healer, born into a long lineage of mystics going back multiple generations. She has a sensitive approach to all her readers and offers insight, upliftment, and energy of all areas in life. Now, Maggie started to explore the psychic abilities that she has in spiritual churches, sitting in closed circle and doing platform work. She then went to London College of Psychic Studies and Spiritual Center, Clearly Destiny, to widen her knowledge. She is an Angelic Reiki practitioner, healer, and is training with the Little Butterfly School of Archturain Healing. Maggie connects with her spirit guides and consults angelic cards to connect with your energy. She can work with your voice, so distance is not an issue, as readings can take place via Skype or face-to-face in London. Tonight on the Leak Project, we discuss a bounty of topics. We talk about her communications with multidimensional beings, what she refers to also as star people. The reptilian influence, is it real? How real is it? And how is the entertainment industry and the mainstream media involved? Her answer might just blow your mind. Also, we discuss the power of words, thought, how she does readings, and what tools you can use to protect yourself from malicious interests. Also, how powerful is your attitude? An optimist versus a pessimist. We even get into philosophy, deep thoughts of the dualistic universe that surrounds us as well. Make sure to check out Maggie's work and website at www.maggierose.org. This is Rex Bear. Enjoy the presentation and be the change you want to see. Talk to you soon. All right, folks. Well, we've got a real treat for you today. We have Maggie Rose from maggierose.org. She is an intuitive reader and energy healer. Maggie, it's great to have you on the show with us. I know you're in a different time zone and very busy. How the heck are you?
Great, actually. I've had a very good day, and I'm very happy to be here.
Wonderful. Well, it's great to speak with you. I know our listeners here at the Leak Project have been sending me requests to get you on the show, so it's wonderful to finally speak with you. And if you would, please tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of where you are at now.
Okay. Well, currently I live in London, East London, and I work as an intuitive reader. What that generally means is I connect with your energy, but I'll... depends on what level we connect on. It can be a mediumship level, it can be a psychic level, or we can go up to 5th, 6th, 7th dimensional beings, and we'll be channeling and communicating with them as well, along with the angels, of course. And also I work as a healer, spiritual healer, angelic healer, and currently working with some new energies that are coming through that are very strong and very quick. And I'm very much enjoying working with them at the moment.
Have you always been able to tap into people's energy fields, or is it something that you've built up along the way?
It's really interesting you should ask that right now, because currently in the UK, for any of my UK people, I'm in this magazine called Spirit and Destiny, and actually talks about that. And it talks about how these things can be passed down through generations. So I have a long line of family members who are spiritualists and healers and gypsies. So it's something that's always kind of been there, but it's something that I'd kind of denied for a long time. I sort of spent a lot of time, I work as an artist also, so I went through art school, got myself a degree and a master's, and thought, right, this is what I'm doing. But then, Destiny had another direction for me to take. So just when I thought I'd got everything sorted, they changed their mind and said, actually, we're going to take you down this other path. So at the moment, I'm trying to work out a way of tying together the artwork, which I really love and enjoy a great passion for, and my healing and my intuitive work. So I'm kind of in the process of sort of pulling it all together at the moment.
Okay. And what would your definition be of a gypsy?
Tricky question. First that comes to mind, though, for me, is someone with a wandering heart. Funny enough, that's just popped in. So a wandering heart. So I think just, a wandering heart. There you go.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the definitions according to Wikipedia right now, and one of them is a nomadic or free-spirited person, and that's often what I think of too. Somebody that's got a free spirit that likes to travel, might be a little eclectic or eccentric, and kind of, a lot of times psychic abilities or intuitive abilities kind of go hand in hand. That's really cool. So your family then has been, it's kind of like a generational thing for you.
Yes, absolutely. My my grandfather was Buddhist, I think that's the word, and my great grandfather was a spiritual healer. And then on another side, the Irish connection, we had a blacksmith who was a healer as well. And then going back generations of healers, bone fixers, wanderers, mystics, readers, tea leaf readers, all sorts. Everyone has their own sort of special gem.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, do you do tarot readings? Do you read leaves? What is a good form of mediumship for you typically?
I don't use tarot. I have done tea. I've done like scouring, it's called. So you can do that with tea leaves or with salt or with wax. There are lots of different ways of doing it. But I can do it, but it's not where my comfort zone is. Generally, if someone wants a reading, I'll use some oracle cards just to get into their energy. But most of it is just tuning into their energy and then communicating with their higher self and their guides if they want to step forward. And sometimes a mediumship link will come through as well. So if there's any loved ones who want to get a message across, that can happen too. But I generally am just able to tune into someone's energy. I don't particularly need tools, even though they're very, very useful. I find that I'm using them less and less. But I do have a set of oracle cards that I find really useful to sort of initially kind of guide me into the energy.
What are oracle cards? I've never heard of those.
Oh, these, you'll know them. They're sort of like Dorian Virtue type things, these kind of cards. So they're more sort of inspirational, but they're just a really great way to help get into someone's energy.
Okay. And when you get into somebody's energy, can you see different colors? Do you feel different emotions?
It really depends on what level we're at with the person and what level they're able to take. So some people, if they're kind of just beginning their spiritual journey, it will generally be quite inspirational and maybe mediumship. So there'll be a loved one who wants to come through to connect with them. What was the question again? I've forgotten.
No, that's okay. I mean, when you do you feel the sensations when you tap into somebody's energy, Phil? That's what we were talking about.
Yeah. So it can be very physical. If there's a physical element going into someone's body and I'm connecting with them, if someone's passed in a particular way, I will get those elements and I'll feel it. If it's in my heart or if I'm struggling to breathe or I can't swallow, then I'll get those elements, but I want to pass them on, so I don't want to keep hold of those. Thank you very much. And then the rest of the stuff will come. I work very visually, so I get a lot of visual information. So in my third eye, in my mind's eye, I'm able to see scenes and scenarios, which then I can describe to the person. It could possibly be the room that they're sitting in, or it could be a memory link. So it'll be very individual depending on the person that I'm working with and their energy. But it's very visual. What I get is very visual.
So you're more of a visual-oriented person then. When you think of things, it's typically you're seeing it first.
Yeah, it's clairvoyance. So that would be called clairvoyance.
Okay.
And then you get clairsentience. So that's the general knowing. So when you're clairsentient, you just know stuff. You just know. Like, I'll get information, I'll just know it's the right stuff, so that I'll pass that through. And you have to learn to trust those kind of instincts when it comes through.
Sure. Now, can you basically, let's say you're going to the grocery store and you walk past people, are you like sensing their emotions and energies, or do you have to just kind of shut yourself off and block it out?
I can do, but I find it's a little bit rude to tune into someone's energy if they haven't asked you to. So generally, I like to be invited into somebody's energy. But it does kind of sometimes become screamingly obvious that someone is trying to get through or they're trying to get a message. So it has happened to me where I've been funny enough, in a supermarket sort of browsing something, and I've been stood next to a lady and I get a message for them. And I have to try and work out a way to get it into a conversation. I can't just say, oh, I've got your grandmother here and she's really sorry to hear about blah, 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 but she wants you to know that she loves you very dearly. So you can't just drop that into someone's day. You kind of got to work out a way of easing it into the conversation. But I am very aware of people's energies, and I don't like to cold read people, so I have to make sure I'm invited. I think that's quite important to be polite.
Absolutely. Now you can also communicate with spirits and people on the other side. How often do they come to you and make contact with you without you actually going to them?
I'm actually very strict with the energies. That's more like a fourth dimensional energy, and I'm very strict. So I have quite a strict policy with my guides and with my gatekeeper as well, that it's not to come through unless it's been invited. So I don't want any energies that's not been invited to come through to me. So I'm very strict about that.
And you talk about the different dimensions as well, like the fourth dimension, etc. Could you walk us through these different levels? What would it be like fourth dimension versus fifth, sixth, seventh, etc.? Okay,
tricky. I find when I work on a mediumship level, that's more like a fourth dimensional sort of level. But at the moment, I've been guided more towards, well, I'm working on the fifth dimensional level, but my guides are actually taking me up to the seventh dimensional level, because I'm working with star beings at the moment. So that is a much more of an inspirational energy that comes through, and they are very much guiding people to be the best that they can be and to not live in fear. So it's not about connecting with passed over loved ones, it's about holding on to your authentic self and living in the best way that you possibly can. So that's where when you're in the fifth dimension and then you go up to sixth, seventh, that is about love. That's pure, it's just a pure loving energy. So they're not concerned necessarily with the details of, they are concerned with the details of your life, but they also want you to look at the bigger picture. Okay. And how we're protected.
Now, how would one go? Have you ever been able to find out how these beings go from the fifth level to the sixth level? When you say the seventh level is as star beings, it reminds me of a book that I read on astro shamanism that actually talks about the different energies of planets and stars, etc. And then I'm going to make another connection here, the Egyptian god Ra, and that connection there with the sun. I've often wondered, what is the different levels there? So have they ever told you how they get from level 4 to 5 to 6, etc.?
It's the same process that we're going through here on Earth. It's the ascension process that we're all kind of going through here on our, if you've started your spiritual journey, you'll be going through it yourself. So everyone is going through this. It's the same with the star beings. They've just ascended to the next level up, the same as we are ascending. So we're going from the third dimension up to the fourth to the fifth, planet Earth is. So they're just the same, but they've just been doing it for a little bit longer than we have. That's all it is. It's the same process. It's a process of self-discovery and initiations and open-heartedness. It's very, very important to work from your heart and have an open heart.
Absolutely, especially when you get into those higher levels, you wouldn't even be able to reach them, I would assume, if you had a lot of anger and aggression in your heart, because it just wouldn't be compatible, right?
Anger and aggression only exists on the only exists on the third dimensional plane. It does not exist beyond the third dimensional plane. If you're getting that, then you're still in the third dimensional plane. It does not exist beyond that. So that's what a lot of the work we've got to do here on the planet Earth is to work through the fear and to work through the anger, because that's only third dimensional feelings. That does not exist in the fifth dimension. It just doesn't exist. It's pure love. That is it. And it's not a physical love. It's a all-encompassing being.
Okay. Now, I mean, it sounds incredible. And for a lot of people out there that haven't maybe heard about these types of levels before, they might kind of look at it and go, wow, this sounds woo-woo. And yet, if you really do the research, our eyes are only picking up 0.01% of the electromagnetic light spectrum. Then our brain filters out 50% of that. And myself personally, I've had some wild encounters and experiences that I don't talk about on the radio that would make other people, I'm sure, if they went through that same experience, go, man, the truth is stranger than fiction. This is incredible. So I can certainly see where you're coming from, and I appreciate that. I'm just trying to get to the, for the person out there that might be skeptical or somebody that wants to understand better, I'm trying to help them conceptualize it better and understand, because there's so much aggression right now in the world that we live in. It seems this bipolar reality. You've got the, on the left side of the screen, you've got these mass shootings going on. You've got the world being blanket sprayed with chemtrails and different poisons from Monsanto and wars and all this stuff. And then you've got these little gems of goodness on the other side. And it doesn't seem to be really balanced anymore. I think there needs to be a balance there. So it's good to hear about these higher levels. Do you think that this third dimension is always going to be like this, as far as the polar opposites that some of us experience or that other people see?
I don't think this third dimensional level can sustain itself for much longer, if I'm really honest. And I know some of these things are a bit out there, and I'm surprised even in myself that I even say these things and I even think them and I even experience them, because they are bonkers, as you say. It is a little bit out there. But I really feel like this three-dimensional level cannot really sustain itself for much longer, and that's why there is this kind of sense of panic on the planet, and that sense of panic is sort of inducing the fear And that's just a way of controlling people. So this fear and this panic and this hate and this anger and this angst is just a way of keeping people down. It's just a way of keeping people controlled. So the most revolutionary thing you can do is actually just love yourself. Learn how to love yourself. Learn how to take responsibility for yourself. You can't take responsibility for the entire world and for everybody within it, but you can take responsibility for yourself. And that's the most revolutionary thing I think you can do.
Absolutely. And that kind of reminds me of I put a podcast together real quick on the Leak Project last night because a friend of mine sent me a link to a news article, essentially, that said that a chemtrail plane ran by the CIA was shot down over China with a swine flu virus in it, and they were going to spray a population in Ukraine. And I read it, and I said, you know what, man? I think this is a propaganda piece. And I started thinking some more, and I said, no, this article came out several years ago. I read it back in 2014. And then that same article, I was able to go all the way back to 2009. And, you know, not only is the mainstream media pushing fear, doom, and gloom, but so is much of the alternative media. They're pushing doom and gloom.
Yeah, it is. And it's a shame because there's so much fabulous stuff happening in the world. There's so much beauty out in the world, and yet it's not news, it's not worthy, it's not going to make you cower in the corner, it's going to make you rejoice and be happy. But we can't have that because then we won't be able to control people. So yeah, I don't actually have any media in my life anymore. I don't have a TV. I used to listen to the radio a lot, which I used to enjoy, but even that I've been feeling it's been very negative, so I just like listening to music. I keep an eye on what's going on online, but I can choose what comes into my home, and I can choose what it is that I'm interested in. So I think it's better to take control of the media and take control of what you're absorbing, because a lot of it, as you say, is just pushed out there just to create panic and fear. And when one person is in a place of fear, you can then control them quite easily.
It's that fight or flight mode. And if somebody's in a constant state of fear, they're a lot easier to control, like you said. And then the powers that be kind of know where to orchestrate certain events to get them to do certain things. And that's another thing. It seems like there's so many experiments that are played out on the masses, whether it's a psychological experiment, whether it's an environmental experiment. There's a lot of things that maybe just a handful or a very small percentage of people are doing at the top levels. Have you ever been able to make contact with beings at the higher levels, and have they given you any points of, I don't know, like good opportunities, like, okay, things are going to change, you can do this, we're going to come out and help you guys at the third level because we do see this imbalance?
Well, absolutely. As I said, the best thing you can do is learn to open up your heart and work from a place of sort of balance and harmony. So you don't need to counteract the fear because the fear doesn't really exist. So it's not really there. It's something that's just playing in your mind. So once you get control of your mind and once you get control of the thoughts, then it all balances out anyway. So it's not really, there's no big secret. It's just a matter of just taking control of yourself, taking responsibility for yourself, learning to live be an authentic self. You know, if you choose to do something, then do it. You know, but do it wholeheartedly and do it for your open heart and for your authentic self. I don't mean go out and do something horrible to people, but just living true to your values.
Right on. Yeah, live true to your values and be the change you want to see. Those are some good.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, nice.
Praising me there. Yeah, I was getting lost.
Well, I knew exactly what you meant. And if you would please walk us through some of your readings that you do. Let's say someone contacted you and they wanted a reading done. Give us a glimpse, if you would, please.
Depends if it's the one-to-one. If I'm doing physical one-to-one reading, or if I'm doing it phone or Skype, which I am totally able to do. Generally, we'll just start with a conversation. I'll ask if there's any particular areas they want to look at. Generally, people want to know about the love because that's a very important element of everybody's life. So we'll talk about and we'll look at the relationships, what's working, what's not working. Generally, it's best if you don't talk too much and just let me do all the talking. Otherwise, don't want to feed the medium, and just let the inspiration come. Generally, the last about half an hour seems to be quite a good time, and then we'll have another 10 minutes just to recap what was gone over. But we can tune in to particular areas. If there's a particular issue that you're worried about or a question you have, then I can tune into that for you. And then we'll see where we go. But every reading is very, very different because every person is very different and every energy is very different. But then if I'm doing a healing, that's another case as well. So that may be a case that we're going to be it may be that the blockages that are coming up in this life are something from a past life, so we're going to have to regress back and fix that. It may be a little bit of soul retrieval work, or it could be just a little bit of physical work, or it could be some entity attachments. So it really does depend on the individual person, because I can't do sort of a blanket reading. I have to look at every energy individually, and every energy is beautiful, and every energy, it feels like, needs to remember that they're beautiful. A lot of people forget that, so it's about reminding them, of themselves and reflecting back to them how beautiful they really are. A lot of people really forget themselves.
Absolutely. And also, when you talk to people and you said you do these regressions maybe into past lives also, are you hypnotizing them? Are you a hypnotherapist?
No, that'll be in a healing session. So that'll be if I sense there was a blockage in a past life. Maybe I can give you an example. I was doing some work with a woman who was having a lot of trouble with her stomach, and we couldn't work out why she was having so much trouble with her stomach. It turned out in a past life she died because she was stabbed in the stomach. So we had to go back to that point and heal it from there for it to be fixed in this life here. So, and then, she became a lot better. So it's healing, but allowing a space for the other person to be healed as well, and allowing space for the other person, the other energy, to remember their authentic self, so they can remember that they're creative and that they're beautiful and that they're loved, and everything is actually going to be okay. So it's a lot of reassurance as well that, it's going to be okay. Don't worry. It's going to be okay.
Everything kind of seems to work itself out with the universe. And I was talking to Doc Ram a couple days ago. The guy's IQ is off the charts. He was actually back around when Timothy Leary was. I don't know if you're familiar with that guy, but they were very, very cool cat. But anyway, he said, the universe, if things are out of whack, then the universe's plan hasn't been completed yet, because everything kind of works itself out at the end. So I like the way you brought that up. That was a really neat way to say things, and people need to realize that. They need to remember that, I feel. So yeah. Let's say that you were to, how many people do you actually do these healing sessions with that have a certain issue today, like you said, stomach problems, and you go back and you find out it's from a previous life? How often does that happen?
It's actually quite regular. Maybe that's just the way I work, but that seems to come up quite often. And also a sort of soul retrieval as well. Bits may not have come through in the sort of point of birth. That can always be quite traumatic when a soul is being born into this planet. Sometimes it can be a little bit traumatic experience. And so sometimes you need a little bit of guidance from that perspective as well. And there's also always a lot of childhood issues as well. Quite often he's sorting out, because, in a child, you're not able to process quite a lot of adult information. So you may have to go back to that, to your inner child, and do a little bit of healing there as well. That is quite often the case.
And do you use certain tools as well when you do the healing sessions, or is it via mind? And
it is via mind, but if I'm guided to offer advice, and I will, if I'm given a particular herb or a supplement to take, then I'll let them know. Crystals often come into play, but I'm not a crystal healer, but they do often sort of just turn up and want to be used, so use those. So it's another case of following your intuition. And the knowing that it's right as well, and setting the intention of healing, and setting the intention that it is the right thing to do. Okay.
And you were telling us a little bit about how you've got guides and also a gatekeeper.
Yes, gatekeepers are very, very important. Everybody has, as you know, a guardian angel, and everybody also has a gatekeeper, which I don't think everyone's aware. And this gatekeeper is really important that you build up a good relationship with your gatekeeper, because this is the person that's going to allow the energies in and out. So you don't want to let the bad or the negative or the lower energies in if they're not for your highest good. So the gatekeeper is there to make sure that only the energies that you've invited and the energies that are here for your highest good are all able to walk into your space. Otherwise you can get all sorts of entities, attachments, and negative feelings. And it's quite easy to find your gatekeeper. Can't do it right now for everybody, but it's not actually as difficult as it sounds.
How long does it typically take for somebody to do?
It's just, you can do it in half an hour.
Meditation? Or?
Yeah, it's just through a meditation you can meet your gatekeeper. You just set the intention for them to step forward. And if you're open, it may be quite quick, and it may take a few sessions. Every person is different. But I feel it's important, if you're going to be working with energies, if anybody's healer or medium, psychic, it's very important to have protection. Archangel Michael, of course, is always around to help as well.
Have you heard of... Okay. And have you heard of sylphs?
No, what's that?
They're like these parasitic entities that feed off of people at like the astral realms almost. For example, if you have a real traumatic experience and it kind of sticks with you, and yeah.
I didn't know that's what they were called. Sometimes they're called sort of shapeshifters as well. They can be quite naughty because they'll come in as, you know, an animal guide or something, and it's not. So you just got to be really aware. But yeah, a lot of these, there are some, you know, naughty entities out there, and you just have to be very clear about where you're setting your space.
Can you ever see them?
Yeah. I saw one today.
What did it look like?
Actually, came in as an eagle or as a bird of prey because I do trance on Monday afternoons. You sit in this black room in a black box with a red light on you, and the medium that was working, this energy came in, but it was an unwelcome energy, and she hadn't set her protection up, so we had to ask that energy to leave. But it came in. I was like, oh, lovely! It's come in as a lovely eagle, but actually, it wasn't.
What was it?
It was a shapeshifter.
Well,
from another dimension.
I mean, I've heard the shapeshifter term before, but often I think of the reptilian shapeshifters that talk about in the media. You know, all of a sudden their eyes go. I'm just joking around, but that's kind of what I think of, because a lot of people say that there are reptilian shapeshifters. Do I believe that? I don't know. What do you think about that?
No, that's totally true. I know we're getting a bit out there now, but it is actually totally true. And they're the ones that are feeding off the fear. So if you're sitting in a situation, you're feeling fear, they love that. They'll straight on you. They love it. They'll suck you dry with that stuff. That's why it's so important to set clear boundaries, let the gatekeeper know which energies you really want to be working with, and work purely from the heart, because darkness cannot exist in the light. So if you're working from the heart and from a place of light, and you're only working with beings from the light, they will not be able to touch you. But they will just get their claws in if they can into that fear.
It's like a buffet for them.
That's why we're here, to feed them. And
I've wondered that before.
Yeah, it's the best thing we can do is to be in the light and to love. They can't bear that.
What do you know about the reptilians?
Oh, I can't really go into that right now if you don't mind.
That bad, huh? Okay. They're watching us right now. Will not assimilate. I can appreciate that. Now, I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there on the agenda of, you could call it the alien agenda, the reptilian agenda, and then that movie They Live. A lot of people say, hey, man, there's a lot more truth to that than one might think. And then you can see some 10,000-year-old statues of giant lizard men. And there's a lot of very interesting correlations out there, even if you get into some of the subliminal programming in media with the cartoons, the video games, the entertainment industry. It all kind of, like you said, orchestrates together. And if the reptilian agenda is real, and if these shapeshifters are real, I mean, that would make perfect sense to be in the media, because the media is the perfect medium to freak people out or to cause certain emotions, and they could just feed off of that.
I just say they are the media. It's not, they don't use the media, they are the media. That is, that is a tool. That is one of their tools that they use. So it's really tricky, but yes, they do exist. It's very real, and they produce media. They produce the media. They produce the fear. They even instigate terror, because that's what they feed off. That's their energy. That's what they need to survive. So without that, they can't survive. They can't survive in the light, and they can't survive in the love. But you're right about. I don't like the word aliens, though. I don't like that word. I think they're just dimensional beings from another. They're just beings from another dimension, and there's lots of them here. We're just, because we're on a third dimension, we can't see them, but there are dimensional beings. I don't like the word aliens.
Hey, I totally get you. A lot of people think that they actually were here before we were, that actually this is their home turf. So, I mean, there's so much out there. What do you believe? Well, go with what your gut tells you, unless you've got some better evidence. And usually, it seems like oftentimes I look through my life, and there's been many times that I thought I had the answer, and I found out later that it wasn't. So I take things more with an agnostic approach.
Exactly. Yeah, a belief is tricky, because a belief tends to be, to me, sounds a bit stagnant. So, like as you asked me about what a gypsy is, like having, wandering heart. It's the same with your beliefs. Have, be open and be fluid with them, and let the new ones come in. Because the word belief just kind of, for me, just kind of sticks. It doesn't really allow sort of movement for new ideas to come forward. And I think new ideas are coming through and being downloaded constantly all the time. And this is how we're ascending, and this is how our energy is rising. So
absolutely. Now, do you think that they were here before us? I mean, or do you think that we've all been here the same amount of time?
Well, humans haven't really been here very long at all. If we look at the history of the planet, Humans have been here for like a millisecond, really. And so there's a whole expanse of history. But once you get up into different dimensions, time doesn't really exist anyway. So we're looking at humanity, we're looking at it from a three-dimensional time continuum. Actually, that doesn't even exist. The time doesn't really exist. So
it's like a filing cabinet to store your memories. Time is.
No, it's not even linear. You can't even. It's not even linear. It's like multidimensional.
Mm-hmm.
So the energy of this planet is multidimensional. We just can't see that. So yes, there have been other energies here, which humans and humanity were aware of. We've just lost a lot of knowledge.
I wonder if that could explain some of the ooh parts that are found around the world when discoveries of 50-million-year-old tools are found underneath certain levels of lava, that the only way they could get there is either by some type of weird time travel, quantum physics or something, or actually people there 50 million, 100 million years ago, or some type of person, humanoid, I don't know. But have you been able to get any knowledge on the story of the Anunnaki and the Sumerian tablets about how our genetic makeup was basically manipulated about 400,000 years ago, and then again 250,000, etc.?
I do, actually, but I'm a bit reluctant to share it here, to be honest.
Come on. Just do it. It's on everybody's minds, and you know this. You're giving us your opinion, so this is.
I don't often view my opinion about this. It's interesting. I tend to keep this stuff to myself because it's a little bit out there.
I mean, it can't be any more out there than what we're already talking about. And I mean, seriously, you know, and here's the beauty of it. You're bringing it to the table in a fashion of, this is my opinion. You're not saying I know this as fact and this is guaranteed. So people appreciate that.
Well, this is a very beautiful planet, and it is created to be really, really, it was created to be enjoyed, and enjoyed not just by humans because we came later, but it's created to be enjoyed by lots of other energies and entities, some of which are still present, but in a very, very, very distant way. You've heard of the hidden people in Iceland and the creatures that live in the rainforest, and so there's still pockets of deep, deep, deep in the ocean as well, and also in the ice caps. So there are pockets still left of these very, very, very ancient energies that were here long, long, long before humanity. And some people said humanity was brought in or kind of created to feed the reptilians because they needed the gold from this planet to something blah blah blah, something else.
Atmosphere.
Yeah. And so I don't even consider myself human sometimes. Humanity has evolved, but we've lost a sense of ourselves because we were essentially made from a very beautiful perspective, a very beautiful place. We were, created with love. And that's what was in our hearts, and that's where Atlanta was, and that's where, that's kind of was the ideal of this planet, and it could be visited by lots of entities, and it was a beautiful place to be, as all planets and dimensions are. But it's got to kind of got corrupted, and humanity's got corrupted as well, and we've kind of forgotten ourselves. We've forgotten how to use the planet. We've forgotten a lot of our information. We've forgotten how to heal ourselves, because we can all heal ourselves. It's not difficult. We just do it. We've forgotten how to heal ourselves. We've forgotten how to communicate. We've forgotten how to use our bodies. We've forgotten how to appreciate the world, appreciate the planet, and appreciate the other animals that live within it as well.
You're bringing up some points that are strong, and you're making a lot of common sense too. So what you just said there, I don't think sounds crazy at all. I think that's one of the most amazing things that you've said, actually. If you really think about it, people tend to give themselves too much credit oftentimes. Like, they think they're the say-all, see-all. I've done it before. I know people that have done it before. And if we realize we're all in this together, and these different energies, different animals, plants, everything is just a different representation of ourselves, essentially.
Yeah, nice. I like that. And what you're talking about is the ego, which is healthy to have a little bit of ego, because it does push you forward. But it once it consumes you, that's it. You can't see beyond self. You just can't see beyond yourself, because all you see is ego. That's it. That's all you see. And once you get beyond the ego, then you can start, seeing your beautiful self as you are. Everybody is beautiful, but you can't see it if you're sort of wrapped up in ego and fear. And there's space enough for everybody. There's absolutely space enough for everybody to be beautiful, and everybody to have their energy, and everybody to have what they need.
Absolutely.
It's a balance. It's a fine balance.
Well, I'm also thinking about this dualistic universe that we're in right now, and it seems like there's an opposite to just about everything. You hear the saying, no good deed goes unpunished. It seems as if we're in this fractal reality where there's opposites to everything. So if it starts off at source, where everything is love, everything is light, and then maybe there was this, it's talked about in many prophecies and ancient texts. They just have a different way to phrase it. But then when we separated from source, we created maybe this duality. And I'm just throwing some ideas out here into this conversation. And then when that happened, then there was another fractal, another opposite, and we continue to go further away from source. So where we're at now, we just, like you said, we don't remember how to control our bodies like we used to. You look at some of these shamans and monks up in the hills in Tibet that can control their body temperature to the point where it's 50 below out. In the wintertime, they go outside with a robe on, essentially a light robe, and they can melt the snow around them because they can change their metabolism. It's just incredible what these guys can do. You've seen superhuman strength and all sorts of amazing feats that we should all and do inherently have the ability to do, but we forgot how to use it because maybe we're just, it's kind of like this transhuman movement, this VR setup reality that we're trying to create for ourselves, or people are trying to create for us with media hysteria, illusion, essentially. So yeah, we're just becoming further and further away from self. And once we realize that, maybe we can turn the tides and start to go back up the ladder towards light and love.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that you can't have nice things, and it doesn't mean you can't have a nice house and a nice car, and it doesn't mean you have to live like a hippie in a shed. It doesn't mean that at all, which I think what a lot of people think that means. It actually doesn't mean that. It just means living from your authentic self. But I also feel that duality is important as well. And it doesn't mean good, bad, light, dark. It's to have a balance is what duality really means, to me anyway. It's about balance.
Oh yeah, you've got the yin and the yang, you've got the 50-50, because I've often wondered this. What's your thought on this, Maggie? If one side of the gets more powerful than the other, let's say the yin turns into 51%, so it's more powerful than the yang, then would it therefore continue to get stronger and stronger and stronger until it's completely consumed the other side, and then it would start to consume itself because it wouldn't have anything left?
Well, yeah.
Am I getting a little too woo-woo here?
No, not at all. But then it wouldn't be balanced and it wouldn't be yin and yang, so then therefore it wouldn't exist. So you're saying the yin and yang, then suddenly one will become more than the other, so that one wouldn't be that anymore.
Right. If one became more powerful than the other, then it would completely destroy the entire system.
Yeah, because it wouldn't be yang or it wouldn't be yin. It would be something else.
Right. So therefore,
it wouldn't exist.
Yeah, exactly. So there has to be some kind of balance or some certain key algorithms in play at the highest levels to keep this universe balanced. And
it does exist, and that's the love. It bonds it together.
Let's hope that always stays intact, because yeah, I hope that never gets unplugged. If we're in some supercomputer,
Why?
Let's keep it plugged in.
Why would it doesn't get unplugged?
Oh my goodness. I've just often pondered, you look at this transhuman movement, it used to be a lot more on my mind than it is now, but I used to think to myself, if there ever is that imbalance that's created, then it would turn into nothing essentially, eventually. So we have to keep the balance. It's almost like there's this constant war in order to keep peace.
I think there's a constant love in order to keep peace. You've just got to watch your language really at that point, haven't you? And, because words carry vibration, and vibration is what everything is made up of. So you just got to be careful of how you use these words. So, love keeps it in balance, and love keeps things in vibration and holds things in place, not war.
Right on. That's touche. Is the glass going to be half full, or is the glass going to be half empty? And it's up to us to put that energy into it. I like what you're saying here. And that's one of the things I appreciate about speaking with people like you, Maggie, is because you've got such a good heart. Your energy is through the roof, and I can definitely tell that you're one of those beacons of light and hope for humanity, or just life itself, because we're all in this together. So that's awesome. And what else would you like to share with our audience? Maybe a question that I should have asked or didn't, or some more information that would be enlightening to those that have an opportunity to listen to this broadcast.
Okay, so today I asked my guides if they had any information that they might want to share, because I know you were asking about predictions, but I don't really like to do predictions. I like to do inspiration. So they actually, I wrote down a little thing, and the message is of inspiration today is I wanted to show you how to create balance in your heart. So if you, at the moment, the energies, particularly at the moment, there's this thing called the Lion's Gate is opening, so it's a great portal at the moment of energies coming down, and this is fifth dimensional energies coming down. So anybody who's wanting to tap into that and needs to open up their heart, but they're struggling a little bit, what I was shown today is a way to unlock the Lion's Gate in your heart is to draw an infinity symbol, like an upturned 8, just in the air, just over your heart space. And as you keep doing that, you'll feel the energies rising within your heart, and that's what's going to help open you up. So today, tomorrow, whatever day you're watching this, my advice to you is to unlock your heart by using this infinity symbol that I've been shown. And this is a safe way to do it. And by doing this, you're opening up to the infinity love of the universe. And this is going to help you unblock any broken hearts that may be out there. It's going to help mend the broken hearts, and it's going to help open up your hearts. So if you're looking for love, this is a really great way to open your heart. So spend a few minutes just deep breathing and drawing the infinity symbol over your heart chakra. And that's my inspirational message for you today.
Awesome. Much appreciated. I was actually doing that while you were talking about it. Yeah.
I was too.
Thank you. Should somebody use both hands, or should they just use the right hand, or does it matter?
Funny, I asked that. I was like, what do I do with this other hand? I've got a spare hand. What do I do with it? They said, just put it in your lap. So put the other hand in your lap, close your eyes, and then just do the infinity over your heart chakra. So you may feel a pull. I don't know I feel like a sort of a vortex of energy around my heart chakra. So I know that's working. A lot of people really need to work with their heart chakras. This is a great way to open it and clear it and get it enlightened to the universe.
Okay. Wonderful.
That's just what I was showing today.
Well,
and this
you.
came from the Archangels. So the Archangels were working with me today to show you that.
That's awesome. Talk about synchronicities too, because just a couple days ago I brought up the sign with Richard Allen Miller, the infinity sign. So that's really cool. Yeah. And also, I mean, are there forms of protection that you would recommend our listeners use, maybe that they could do at an energy level? The infinity symbol.
I've got a little stone here that I use, obsidian. This is a great one for protection. So if you just stick a little bit of that in your pocket, that's great for protection. And also the violet flame, which I have a little picture of the violet flame here, is great to invoke the violet flame whenever there's an energy or a situation or a fear that you feel like you're having. So you just invoke the violet flame and just hand over the fear, you hand over the situation, you hand over the past and whatever it is, and the violet flame will transmute it into something glorious and take it away for you.
Awesome.
So protection, as I said, talk about the gatekeeper as well, very important. And also if you're an energy worker or anybody really, it's very important to be grounded. So make sure you do a lot of grounding work as well.
Okay. This has just been absolutely fantastic. I would strongly recommend our listeners go to maggierose.org. And are there other ways to get in contact with you, Maggie?
Not at the moment,
okay.
Because I'm having a media blackout until September. So this is a little experiment I'm trying with myself. So I'm not on Facebook or anything for the month of August, but I'll be back in September. So just under Maggie Rose Facebook. But the website I think is probably the best way to contact me.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's a great website, and it's real easy to read. So, yeah, the thing about Facebook is it's like the Borg. I don't blame you for not wanting to assimilate. It's definitely one of those opportunities where it can be used for good or bad. So, great website, and folks, go to maggierose.org. And also, I'd recommend going to leakproject.com. If you go to Leak Project, you'll get access to exclusive interviews. If you subscribe, become a member there, and it's totally free. Also, go to youtube.com/clandestine Time Lord. Be the change you want to see, folks. And Maggie, thank you so much for coming on with us. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, lovely. I've had a great time.
This has been awesome.
Great.
Well, it's just great to meet you, and hopefully we'll have the opportunity to speak with you again sometime. Maybe next time we get you on the show, you could do a reading or something. We could have some people call in, and I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, I'd love to. That'd be fabulous.
Awesome. Well, you have a fantastic evening. We'll talk to you again soon.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us this edition of Leak Project. I'm your host, Rex Bear, and tonight's guest was recently featured as a top intuitive in the United Kingdom, Maggie Rose. She has clairsentience as well as being clairvoyant, meaning deep knowing, feelings, and visions. She is a natural healer, born into a long lineage of mystics, going back multiple generations. She has a sensitive approach to all her readers and offers insight, upliftment, and energy of all areas in life. Now, Maggie started to explore the psychic abilities that she has in spiritual churches, sitting in closed circle and doing platform work. She then went to London College of Psychic Studies and Spiritual Center, Clearly Destiny, to widen her knowledge. She is an Angelic Reiki practitioner, healer, and is training with the Little Butterfly School of Archturain Healing. Maggie connects with her spirit guides and consults angelic cards to connect with your energy. She can work with your voice, so distance is not an issue, as readings can take place via Skype or face-to-face in London. Tonight on the Leak Project, we discuss a bounty of topics. We talk about her communications with multidimensional beings, what she refers to also as star people. The reptilian influence, is it real? How real is it? And how is the entertainment industry and the mainstream media involved? Her answer might just blow your mind. Also, we discuss the power of words, thought, how she does readings, and what tools you can use to protect yourself from malicious interests. Also, how powerful is your attitude? An optimist versus a pessimist. We even get into philosophy, deep thoughts of the dualistic universe that surrounds us as well. Make sure to check out Maggie's work and website at www.maggierose.org. This is Rex Bear. Enjoy the presentation and be the change you want to see. Talk to you soon. All right, folks. Well, we've got a real treat for you today. We have Maggie Rose from maggierose.org. She is an intuitive reader and energy healer. Maggie, it's great to have you on the show with us. I know you're in a different time zone and very busy. How the heck are you?
Great, actually. I've had a very good day, and I'm very happy to be here.
Wonderful. Well, it's great to speak with you. I know our listeners here at the Leak Project have been sending me requests to get you on the show, so it's wonderful to finally speak with you. And if you would, please tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of where you are at now.
Okay. Well, currently I live in London, East London, and I work as an intuitive reader. What that generally means is I connect with your energy, but I'll depends on what level we connect on. It can be a mediumship level, it can be a psychic level, or we can go up to 5th, 6th, 7th dimensional beings, and we'll be channeling and communicating with them as well, along with the angels, of course. And also I work as a healer, spiritual healer, angelic healer, and currently working with some new energies that are coming through that are very strong and very quick. And I'm very much enjoying working with them at the moment.
Have you always been able to tap into people's energy fields, or is it something that you've built up along the way?
It's really interesting you should ask that right now, because currently in the UK, for any of my UK people, I'm in this magazine called Spirit and Destiny, and actually talks about that. And it talks about how these things can be passed down through generations. So I have a long line of family members who are spiritualists and healers and gypsies. So it's something that's always kind of been there, but it's something that I'd kind of denied for a long time. I sort of spent a lot of time, I work as an artist also, so I went through art school, got myself a degree and a master's, and thought, right, this is what I'm doing. But then, you know, Destiny had another direction for me to take. So just when I thought I'd got everything sorted, they changed their mind and said, actually, we're going to take you down this other path. So at the moment, I'm trying to work out a way of tying together the artwork, which I really love and enjoy a great passion for, and my healing and my intuitive work. So I'm kind of in the process of sort of pulling it all together at the moment.
Okay. And what would your definition be of a gypsy?
Tricky question. First that comes to mind, though, for me, is someone with a wandering heart. Funny enough, that's just popped in. So a wandering heart. So I think just, a wandering heart. There you go.
Yeah, you know, and I'm looking at the definitions according to Wikipedia right now, and one of them is a nomadic or free-spirited person, and that's often what I think of, too. Somebody that's got a free spirit that likes to travel, might be a little eclectic or eccentric, and kind of, you know, a lot of times psychic abilities or intuitive abilities kind of go hand in hand. That's really cool. So your family then has been, it's kind of like a generational thing for you.
Yes, absolutely. My my grandfather was Buddhist, I think that's the word. And my great grandfather was a spiritual healer. And then on another side, the Irish connection, we had a blacksmith who was a healer as well. And then going back generations of healers, bone fixers, wanderers, mystics, readers, tea leaf readers, all sorts. Everyone has their own sort of special gem.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, do you do tarot readings? Do you read leaves? What is a good form of mediumship for you typically?
I don't use tarot. I have done tea. I've done like scouring, it's called. So you can do that with tea leaves or with salt or with wax. There's lots of different ways of doing it. But I can do it, but it's